जी
Sir,
बोलिए। जी।
Sir,
हाँ या।
if there is if there is fraud and if there is bigamy, can deportation proceedings also be started in such matters, sir?
Yes, that country may take up the view. We have a Foreigners Act in India. We can do that. There is no bar. It can happen. In many cases, it is happening. They are independent proceeding. Now here we are only concerned with the how the judgment of a foreign court is binding in India or not, whether it is a conclusive or not. So the question is, I drew attention to the provisions of because Section 4 of the Evidence Act speaks of three types of presumption. One is a may presume, shall presume, and conclusive evidence. So I have given you the various illustration
sir, I have a
running.
question. Can I ask?
Yes. Hmm. बोलिए.
Sir,
What is the question?
what is the status of an American citizen
Hmm.
having a divorce
Hmm.
and then marrying someone in India?
Hmm.
So will they also
Yes.
need an confirmation from the Indian embassy, or how will that work out?
Yeah, I mean the judgment of the foreign court which has passed a decree, it must be a competent court, isn't it? The court
Okay.
in USA where you obtain the decree must be a competent court within the meaning of the substantive law of India. See, with the decree you are obtaining, the procedural law of USA will apply. Huh? Lex Fori, because Evidence Act applies. Lex Fori means the law of the land. Even the procedural law CPC applies. The lex fori mean the courts where the courts which are situated within the territorial jurisdiction of a particular city. But the substantive law is applied to the parties as to they are governed by under what provisions of law: Hindu law, Mohammedan law, Christian law, Indian law, Japanese law. You cannot apply the law of Geneva Convention to India, or maybe Japanese law to some other foreigner, Indian law to Canadians. When
Mhm.
a marriage is dissolved, your marriage took place under the Hindu Succession Act. You go under the Hindu Marriage Act. Your marriage took place under the Parsi Marriage Act. You go under the divorce under the Parsi Marriage Act, isn't it?
Yes.
That is how the situation is. So, what is first to be seen is number one, for the purpose of section 30, you should section 13 and 14 of the 13 is mandatory. Now, section 13 of the CPC is couched like the provisions which are couched in written in Arbitration Conciliation Act. Geneva Convention, New York Convention, the foreign awards can be challenged on various grounds. I mentioned to you same grounds which are given in section 14 of the CPC. Section
Okay.
13. If the judgment is not passed on merits of the case, if the judgment is not passed by a competent court of law in the foreign country, if the principles of natural justice are not followed, if the substantive law of the country is not followed, that all the grounds which are available to section 13 may A to F. That is one. So you cannot read section 41 of the Evidence Act which say that all judgments, a final judgment of a matrimonial court or insolvency court or testamentary court or judgments in REM. तो उसमें बहुत कुछ लूप होल्स हैं. So the section 41 cannot be read in isolation. And section 4, you have to read into you take into consideration the provisions of section 44 of the Evidence Act, which clearly says that even a conclusive decree, conclusive evidence can be challenged on the ground that it has been obtained fraudulently. Fraud vitiates all transaction. You know that? We learned under
Okay.
section 16, 17 of the Indian Limitation Act. When you discover the flat, you can go anytime. Even limitation is liberally construed in that matter here. The Supreme Court's many judgment clearly say fraud vitiates all transaction, whatever may be the transaction. One judge had gone to the extent of saying there is no limitation for proving fraud. That I don't agree, because section 17 of the Limitation Act tells you what period within which you can go. Then the judges, when when the two countries courts are deciding the judgment of a foreign court, Suppose a decree is passed in a foreign court or Indian court, the Indian court will see whether the foreign court which has passed a decree between the parties is a competent court. Number two, whether it was passed on the merits of the matter, whether the respondent defendant had opportunity to defend, what an ex parte decree or a contentious trial took place. Did he or she submit to the jurisdiction of the court? Number four, whether the substantive law of India was followed, or whether the international convention, Hague's convention was followed or not, and the principles of natural justice is followed or not. These are the requirement under section 13 of the CPC to be seen, number one. Then if they are okay, then the judge will see how that is. In fact, the certified copy of the judgment of the foreign court is a public document within the meaning of section 74. I just now read out to you. Section 74 के अंदर it is a public document and it can be received in evidence by the Indian court under the provisions of section 76. मैं बताया आपने section 76 and 77. Provided it is certified by the Indian embassy in a foreign country as per the provisions of section 86. Presumption as to certified copy of a foreign judicial order, उसके लिए not only the certified copy from the foreign court, the judge's seal signature, and it should also be presented to the Indian officer. The agent of the Indian government, namely, agent कौन है यहाँ पे? Our ambassadors, embassy, you must go there. Then only it can be received. That is what the import of the judgment in the two cases which we have discussed right now, Narasimha Rao versus Venkatalakshmi's case, 1991, or that is also reaffirming the judgment of Satya versus Tejas Singh, which was given in the year 1974, written by Chief Justice Chandrachud in the matter. Okay, is that clear? Anybody want any question further? Ashish was asking something. कुछ question पूछ रहे थे आप?
हाँ सर, मैं पूछ रहा था कि you're saying something regarding section 4 of the act.
Yeah, section 4 clearly crystallizes three situations. May presume. What are the examples of may presume? What are the examples of shall presume? And what are the examples of conclusive proof? So court may presume that a particular document is correct. So I gave you illustrations under the provisions of section 86 to 88 में दिया अभी, then 90 में दिए, 114 में दिया. Natural presumptions can be drawn. So these are rebuttable presumption. They are known as rebuttable presumption. Then the other presumption which the court can draw is called shall presume. The court shall presume that the memorandum of confession is properly recorded by the judicial magistrate under section 164 CRPC. उसका provision आपको मिलेगा section 80 के अंदर. बताया ना आपने? Section 80 के अंदर memorandum prepared by a letter has been dispatched correctly to a place, isn't it? So that is section 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 85A, 85B, 86. If you want to have a quick look, just open your Bare Act. 79 पे आ जाइए आप पहले. Shall presume के example. Presumption as to genuine of a certified copy. So this is dealing with a certified copy of a judgment given by Indian court. The court shall presume that the genuineness of every document purported to be a certified copy of the document. Not only any of the judgment, even of the public authorities. Admissible. Okay. Then 80 deals with presumption as to document produce and record as evidence. So you know that the judicial magistrate records confessions of the accused under 164. So he prepares a memorandum. Then the magistrates courts, they record the evidence under the provision scheme of the CRPC. They have to prepare the memorandum and sign it. So they're all accepted by the court as a the court shall presume that a genuine document. Mean that the judicial officer has duly discharged his duties. So they come on record straight away under section 80. So 81 deals with the situation. Presumption as to gazettes, newspapers, private acts, parliament of document. So the parliament is passing legislation. Many bills and acts are passed and farms laws, various laws. So in any court of law, when they go and if they challenge, normally when a challenge takes place, you have to prove the document. So these documents, they say these are public documents, they need not prove it. If you obtain a certified copy from the gazette copy, you can produce before the court of law. This is a public document under section 74. The court shall presume that it is can be taken record. Unless the other sides take up the plea that it can be challenged. Basically, it cannot be challenged. Isn't it? Gazettes of the government you cannot challenge. Then 81A के अंदर see election forms के अंदर presumption as to gazette in electronic forms. Under the Information Technology Act, the various notification and gazettes are issued by the central government. The manner in which the certified copy is to be recorded. So that is all. Court shall presume it is correct. Then under section 82, presumption as to document admissible in England. So at the time when the British were ruling India, this section was enacted. Now this, according to me, it's obsolete. Our parliamentarian must remove such section which is now pertaining to England, Ireland. ये सब जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. But if they should mention, yes, 86 can be written because it deals with foreign judgment or foreign records. Then section 83, it deals with presumption as to map plans, authority of the government. Yes, a good section. You cannot say that the plans which are prepared by the government of India in the State Reorganization Act, सब हर किसी के plan नक्शे बनते. The government employs eminent architects, officers, they prepare it. So under the seal of the authority of the government. So provided this document fall within the ambit of section 74, the court shall presume that yes, it can be taken on record. Somebody has filed a suit, your easementary rights are being affected. The defendant will produce the plan. The government has allowed it here. So आपके घर के दरमियान, मेरे घर के दरमियान, I may not be having right. A and B are residing together. B may not be having right. He passes through the house. There may be a temple, there may be a church. The people are worshipping. Hundreds of people go and worship everywhere. So you cannot stop them. Government has declared to be a public monument property and resolution is passed here. So you for proving your easementary right and a government notification, you can examine them. Then 84 speaks of presumption as to collection of laws and report of the decision. A Supreme Court judgment given in Supreme Court cases is given to a High Court judge or judicial magistrate first class, second class, or any of the judges is binding. Article 141 says the judgment of the Supreme Court is binding. You don't have to examine a Supreme Court judge or a Sharishadar or a counsel argue to prove that this judgment was argued by me or given by so-and-so judge. Not necessary. A certified copy is sufficient. Even reported in AIR, reported in SEC, and a printout taken out by you from your website of the Supreme Court, High Court is relevant. The court will presume it's a valid document. The court doesn't want to waste its time. During the trial, Evidence Act is a very difficult act to prove. Every document to prove, it is difficult. You have to lead evidence, go on the ball. So these are the cases where your evidence, you need not examine the maker of the document. So the court is trying to dispense with the harsh requirement, the technical requirements. Normally, section 60, 61, 62 tells you the maker of a document must be produced. Now, unless a document contains a proved document is not there. That section I'll point out to you why this now requirement. Please read one section. I am giving you. This section is a very important section. Signature must be proved. Section 67 खोलिए आप. This relates to private document. proof of signature and handwriting of a person alleged to have signed or written document produced. If a document is alleged to be signed or to have been written wholly on part of the person, or signature of a handwriting, so much of the document as alleged to be in the person's handwriting must be proved in his handwriting. So, a plain drawn by you is not evidence. The plaintiff has to come before the court and must say, the plaint has been drawn by my advocate as per my instruction. The verification has been signed by me, and the plaint also signed by me. The contents are correct. So, then section 67, you are attractive. The first information report lodged by the maker is not evidence under the Indian Penal Code 154. So, the maker of the first information must go before the magistrate or sessions court. Yes, I lodged the information to the police with regard to the commission of a cognizable offense. I saw A murdering B. I heard everything. I am an eyewitness. I am a neighbor. I have seen this incident. So, mere FIR is not evidence. At the time of the trial, after the collection of the evidence by the police officer, he files a charge sheet under section 173. Then he furnishes a copy to the accused under 207. When furnishing at the time when the matter is set for recording evidence, then he has to step into the box. Yes, on so and so, I am the neighbor staying here, and the deceased is staying here. The accused is staying here. I know all of them very well. I have seen the incident. He has killed him with the help of a chopper. There was enmity, so and so. Then after seeing the incident, I went and lodged a complaint. This is FIR. This is my signature. Then you are proving section 67. So, in the cases of public document shall presume, it is not required. The memorandum prepared by the magistrate, confession recorded by the police officer is not proved. You don't have to prove it. A confession must be recorded by a judicial magistrate. आप पढ़ें CRPC के अंदर section 164, isn't it? He must record it in the language of the accused person. So, under section 80 of the Evidence Act, it becomes evidence. The court shall presume that that document is properly prepared. See, again, come back to section 80, please, here. To understand confession, understand 164, you have to read section 80. See, presumption as to document, produce and record of evidence. Whenever any document is produced before any court, purporting to be the record, memorandum of evidence, or of any part of the evidence given by a witness in judicial proceeding, or before any authorized by law to take such evidence, or to the statement confession by a prisoner or accused person taken in accordance with and purported to be signed by the judge, magistrate, or by such officer, the court shall presume, underline this word, the court shall presume that the document is genuine, that the statements to the circumstances under which is taken purported to be made by the person signing it are true, and such evidence of statement confessions are duly taken. That means when the court is exercising a discretion to take and record this document, that is a memorandum prepared, court is dispensing with the requirement of proving the document. The maker of need not come. समझे ना आप? Because you learned in the earlier section, that is section 67 tells you the signatures must be proved, contents must be proved. So when you invoke section 80, shall presume, section 76, section 67 requirement is dispensed with. Mean you need not call upon the magistrate to come and depose before the court whether you have taken properly the statement, whether it is your signature, accused आया था क्या बोला. Yes, if the accused is challenging it, my statement is not correctly recorded, I am an insane person, I was drunk at the time, I am challenging it. He has to give a retraction application before the magistrate. you know that he has to retract the whatever statement he has made. Normally, before the court of law, when you apply for a bail before the court of session or a magistrate, public prosecutor क्या बोलेगा? Police, my lord, the bail should not be granted in this case because the accused has confessed it. There is a confession made by him. Accused का वकील क्या बोला? My lord, I am giving an application that I am retracting this statement. The confession has been recorded forcibly. It is not by free will. It is not by free consent. So please note that retraction, you must retract your confession at the immediate stage. Don't wait for till the trial. Till the trial, if you do that, that will go against your client. If a client has come to you for a bail or some action in the court of law to be taken, वो बोलेगा मेरे को स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड किए. टेक इंस्पेक्शन ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड फ्रॉम द पुलिस ऑफिसर, बिकॉज एफआईआर में मिलेगा सब कुछ. आप द कन्फेशन रिकॉर्डेड विल बी गिवन टू द अक्यूज्ड पर्सन. वो सब जानने के बाद इमीडिएटली रिट्रैक्ट. यू आस्क टेक इंस्ट्रक्शन फ्रॉम योर क्लाइंट. जो लिखा है बराबर है क्या? आपने तो एडमिट किया क्राइम को. आपको तो सजा हो जाएगी 10 साल की, 20 साल की, लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट हो जाएगी. वो बोलेगा मैं तो नहीं ऐसा कुछ कहा. आई डिड नॉट से दिस. I was drunk that time. I am insane. I have a medical certificate to show that I am suffering from insanity. So these are the grounds which are available to you. So in that event, the onus burden of proof is upon the accused person. So 101 of the Evidence Act dealing with burden of proof chapter, आप देखेंगे अब, starting from section 101, burden will shift upon him. Normally, in a criminal prosecution, it is the prosecution which has to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the offense is committed by nobody else except the accused. अगर accused a point लेगा, I was insane, I was a minor, I did not do this, I did not do that, then the burden will shift upon him to prove this fact. समझे ना आप? That is how. So, the reason shall presume is enacted that the harsh requirement, technical requirement of examination of the maker document signature can be dispensed with. समझे ना आप? Section 80 से clear हुआ गया, आपको मालूम हो गया ना? Similarly, is the language used in section 81. देख लीजिए आप 81, please. 80 हो गया. 81 presumption map check कर लिया हमने. 82 and 84 also check कर लिया हमने. 84, then 85 ये check करो. 85 deals with a presumption as to power of attorney. So power of attorneys are either signed by notary public or magistrate or Indian council, vice council. There are central government officers are signed. If your brother and sister is in a foreign country, you want to file a suit, you're joint owner, you want to evict your trespasser or tenant, and you require a power of attorney from USA on behalf of your brother. So your power of attorney क्या यहाँ से भेजेंगे आप? You may prepare and send. Your brother has to go to the Indian embassy in USA or the foreign country, get it signed from there. Merely because sign your brother in the presence of an advocate is not sufficient. In India, normally then under the Notaries Act, and notary signs it. So when a notary has signed it here, or a magistrate, judicial magistrate, आप किला कोर्ट में भी जाएंगे, बांद्रा में, अंधेरी में जाएंगे, people, you take your affidavit, they will affirm it. They will ask you to go into the box. They will ask you, a magistrate, who are you, who has signed the document. You show your proof. Yes, this is the declaration I have made, affidavit I have made. My lord, this may kindly be identified. I may be identified, authenticated. So such authentication by a judicial magistrate, notary, you don't require to examine them in the court of law unless you attribute fraud in the matter. You may take up the plea defendant. ऐसा कोई notary है नहीं. Of course, in the city of Bombay and in India, the notary's powers are misused and abused. There are bogus entries, the notary's allegations are there against them. They take money, big money, 1,000, 10,000, 5,000, and they sign and give you thappa without recording whether कौन आया कौन नहीं गया. You must make an entry under the Notaries Act, and the person signing it must sign the notaries in the register. So if that is said, if it is strictly done, you don't require to examine the notary under section 85. 85 is a presumption as to electronic agreement. Now, under the Information Technology Act, there are digital signatures. There are digital agreements. So there is authority appointed by the government of India who can issue certificates. So when they give such certificates, which are subject matter of dispute before the court, arbitration proceeding, criminal proceeding, and you need not examine the officer. So the provisions of examination under section 67 with regard to proof can be dispensed with. That is the meaning here. The court shall presume that the document is genuine. But at the same time, a window has been kept open by the legislature, by the court, that the other side may deny this. Just because I have taken the document and record mark exhibited, it is not a gospel truth. You as a defendant can take up the plea subsequently or during trial. This document is not strictly proved as per law. This is a fraudulent document. I went and checked the registrar of the notary. Such a notary doesn't exist. He died long time ago in the year 1950 and he is producing a document of the year 70. 20 साल पहले मर गया. How can a dead person can affirm the affidavit? So this a fraud is played. When a fraud is played, you can definitely challenge it. Section 44 is giving you permission to challenge a fraudulent document. And under section 9 of the Code of Civil Procedure, the jurisdiction is very wide. You can challenge. There is no harm. Okay, then 84, 85 हो गया. Then 85B and 85C check करो. 85A देखिए the new section. 85, yeah. Come back to 85. The presumption as to electronic record. Then 85C presumption as to electronic signature certificate. So they're all shall presume के examples है. Shall presume, please mentally make a note and write it down from a pencil. Section 79, section 80, 81, 81A, 82, 83, 84, 85, 85A, 85B, 85C. These are the examples of shall presume in the Evidence Act. तो may presume को डिस्कस ही किया मैंने आपको. 86, 87, 88, section 90 and 114. Then apart from, I mentioned to you yesterday, Negotiable Instrument Act के अंदर also there are presumption. Isn't it? That I tell to you. There are other provisions of law which also deal with presumption. You may give it. If you want to score good marks, you want to impress your examiner, give that. That will be good. You should give it. Why not? Then finally, in both the cases of may presume, shall presume, being rebuttable presumptions, you can rebut the presumption by giving evidence. You are allowed to lead evidence. But in the cases of a conclusive proof, there are only 3 sections. Section 41, dealing with the judgments, which I gave it to you. Section 112, which I will deal with it now, and 113. Section 41, right now we discuss here, in what cases you the judgment, which are judgments in rem, need not be proved. They are binding upon the entire world. Except how they are challenged, I give you circumstances invoking the provisions of section 13, 14 CPC, section 44 of the Indian Evidence Act. And if that is a foreign judgment, it must be proved like a public document under 74, and certificate must be obtained under section 86. So how the sections are interconnected. You know, as a young lawyer, you should be able to remember this. It is not easy if you just read the bare act. You have to go through the many judgments. Like we are discussing many judgments of the Supreme Court and various High Court, you must be devote time for your brief. Because a learned judge will base your argument depending upon your argument. If you are not prepared your case correctly, relying upon the various provisions of law and the judgments, the judge will go against you. So you want to do justice to your matter, not only in examination point of view, even the examiner will be happy if you elaborate. These are the examples of may presume का खाली 2-3 लाइन लिखा हुआ है section 4 के अंदर. Shall presume भी 2 लाइन है. Conclusive proof is winding up in 3 lines. You are not going to score marks. You have to give illustration which I am giving you right now. So they are interconnected with so many other sections. So half the Evidence Act you learned here, isn't it? Half the Evidence Act सीख गए आपने. Then I told you also. Then पीछे जाइए आप section 135, 136 is so important. That is the time the court examines whether I can presume the document to be may presume, shall presume, can't presume. Under 136 is the admissibility section. That is a section, a very important judicial power is exercised by the learned judge, a trial judge who is conducting a trial. And when you are a trial lawyer, no? See, unless you are a good trial lawyer, you will not be a good Supreme Court or High Court lawyer, because this is your foundation, Evidence Act. Unless you have a foundation, your building is not correct. So young people, I know many of them, they just want to see that after passing LLB, they want to go and practice in Supreme Court and High Court. This is not correct. Supreme Court and High Court में directly Evidence Act is not dealt under. You have to go to the lower court first. Start your practice from Mufassal courts. If you are living in a village area, go to the civil judge senior division, junior division, civil judge, the judicial magistrate first class, second class. That is the place they are conducting trials every day. In the city of Mumbai, metropolitan magistrates, everywhere, every area में there is a magistrates court. Kila court में biggest court, chief का court है, then Baladpir में court है, then Andheri में court है, Mazwa में court है, then Bandra, everywhere, Borivali area. Please go and sit and watch the trials conducted before a magistrate. A very important judicial function is discharging, especially under the Indian Evidence Act and CRPC. And also go to the court of session, the special judges conducting trials for robbery, murder cases, all session tribal cases. That is the place you must go and sit first. Accordingly, spend your initial 2-3 years of time in a trial court. And if you also want to be a good civil lawyer in good trial, visit the city civil court and the court of small causes court, where trials are taking place almost every day, morning and evening. In the Bombay High Court, unfortunately, there are trials taking place not before judges. They are appointing commissioners who are young lawyers who may not be well conversant with the Evidence Act. They have no authority to overrule document. They cannot give a finding. They just take everything subject to the order from the court. That, according to me, is not a proper trial. You want to see a good trial, attend the lower courts. Go to the city civil court, go to the small causes court, go to even cooperative court, they record evidence, go to magistrates court. Ye courtों में जाइए 6-7, you must get the feeling of this court. Then slowly, because these are the court, they lay the foundation of Evidence Act. CPC and CRPC is best learned before the trial court, your foundation. Then slowly High Court may you learn how the appeal comes, how the revision comes, how the reference comes, how the appreciation of evidence comes, whether the High Court can appreciate or reappreciate evidence and in writ proceedings, that you will learn subsequently. So पहले सीढ़ी आप first start from the ground level, and according to me, don't immediately go to the Supreme Court, वहां से उतर के High Court में आइए, then go to the lower courts. So that mistake, the junior should not do that. There are many people who are doing, yes, you may be having good command over English language, oratory. Just you argue, many of the lawyers, but your evidence is not correct unless you have conducted Evidence Act. Foundation school लीजिए आप. So the provisions which I am pointing out to you, you please remember them, because this section 4 looks so ordinary, but it is most complex. It is dealing with almost half the act. Huh? Please remember this. So conclusive evidence यहाँ कहता है कि section 4 के अंदर it shall not allow evidence to be given for the purpose of disproving it. This is not correct. You are allowed to disprove it by invoking the provisions of section 44 of the Evidence Act. Namely, you take up the plea that the judgment which has been passed is not of a competent court. The decree which is passed is a fraudulent decree. Challenge. Then, along with section 44, section 13 and 14 of the Code of Civil Procedure Code. which tells you clearly when a decree, what is sought to be challenged is a foreign decree. Yes, it is not passed by a competent court. It is not a certified copy. It is not certified by the Indian Embassy in USA. And the parties were not resident there. I did not submit to jurisdiction. Ab initio void decree. तो इसमें सब कितने, so many of them are come here. So that is the meaning. Yeah. The next section in conclusive proof is, so we dealt now section 41. Section 41, remember that only certain decrees, the final decree in order passed by the probate court under the Indian Succession Act, probate is issued. Then matrimonial matters may, here the family court is passing in India, in Bombay city. The decree passed by the family court here is conclusive, either under the Hindu Succession Act, either Parsis are under the, they come still under the High Court. The Muslims, they go to the family court. Christians and Jews also go to the family court. Or India, a decree obtained under the Indian Special Marriage Act is family court. So it is binding. Admiralty Court in the city of Bombay, only the High Court Judicature Bombay, OCJ, has the Admiralty jurisdiction. All final decree passed by the High Court, Bombay, or Calcutta, Madras, and other High Courts which are having Admiralty jurisdiction, it's a final judgment. And on insolvency, that when they have their own mechanism for recording evidence, it is a trapping of a civil court and Evidence Act will apply. So the judgment I had given you in the last lecture. Oh, dekh lijiye aap. So a judgment passed by NCLT declaring under the IBC, yes, a person is insolvent, is unable to pay he has been declared NPA by bank. 180 days के अंदर आप लोन नहीं पे करेंगे, the bank will declare you NPA, non-performing assets है आपके पास. Then give you notice under the Securitization Act, Section 14 की 2 महीने की notice देके, the bank has a right to take over your property without going to the court of law. The only requirement is, after giving you notice, they go before a judicial magistrate in the city of Bombay, that is the chief judicial magistrate at the Ballad Pier, that declares that the order, we have confiscated properly and we have followed the due procedure established. Then your remedy of the borrower is to go under Section 17 to the Debt Recovery Tribunal. Otherwise, you cannot go. There's a bar under the Securitization Act, Debt Recovery Tribunal. तो IBC कोर्ट के अंदर भी वहां पे ऑर्डर पास हुआ है, फाइनल ऑर्डर. They are judgments in rem, but you can only challenge them under Section 44 of the Evidence Act, read with Section 13 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Please note that. Okay. Now the another section dealing with conclusive evidence is, please come to Section 121. Now this section 112. Open किया आपने Section 112. Yeah, I will just read it. The fact that any person was born during the continuance of a valid marriage between his mother and any man, or within 280 days after its dissolution, the mother remaining unmarried, shall be conclusive proof that he is the legitimate son of the man. Underline this word. So the requirement is that there is a valid marriage. Under the Hindu Succession Act, your marriage is proved. You went in temple and got married, is a valid marriage. Between your mother and the man means your father it is. Then marriage dissolve हो गई, and within 280 days के अंदर, if the child is born, the presumption arises that he is the legitimate son of the man, despite the fact that dissolution has taken place, divorce has taken place. If within 280 days, if he is born, there is a presumption of legitimacy. Under the Hindu Marriage Act, you know that here, custody and maintenance is given to legitimate children, unlike CRPC, which gives maintenance to an illegitimate child. Because CRPC is a social welfare legislation. But whereas Hindu law, Mohammedan law, they are all substantive proceedings dealing with the rights of the parties. They are not social welfare legislation. They are strictly construed. So the Evidence Act mandates that if the child is born within 280 days after the dissolution of the marriage, after the divorce between his mother and the father or the person whom she lived with, the court can draw a presumption that he is a legitimate son. And it's a conclusive evidence, proof, that cannot be challenged unless, so there's a window open. So they provide also. So here, the irrebuttable presumption goes away when you read the second line, unless it can be shown that the parties to the marriage had no access to each other at any time when he could have been begotten. The father may take up the plea that during the time my ex-wife conceived, I was not in India. I was in Dubai, foreign country. I got a passport to show. I am there for the last 3 years. I never came in. I never had opportunity to have any intimacy with her. I never had sexual relation with her. That means my child, not my child. It is somebody else. So heavy burden lies upon the father to prove it. Otherwise, if the marriage is, there was a valid marriage, number one, then dissolution took place, there is a presumption by the court, a conclusive proof, he is the son which this lady conceived from this man, he is the father. Now, one of the Indian governors, his son filed a suit in the Delhi High Court. I am the legitimate son. You are denying. At the time, relevant time, he was the governor of Andhra Pradesh.
Are you talking of
Mr.
N.D. Tiwari?
His name is. You must be aware of it.
Yes, sir, N.D. Tiwari. Big politician.
वो DNA टेस्ट के लिए प्रपोज की लेडी ने. He declined. That man and the woman successfully proved before the court of law he the son, ultimately consented. So DNA test, though may be an important test, it may not be conclusive. Tiwari, N.D. Tiwari. That's a famous judgment. N.D. Tiwari, if you open the net के ऊपर मिल जाएगा आपको. Yeah, he was a chief minister of UP during a Congress regime for several years. Then he became the governor, and he was a very colorful man, I believe. When the child who was born, he disowned, that lady. His mother said, your father is Mr. Tiwari because he's the governor. So these are the examples here. Now I will give you two judgments of the Supreme Court on this point. So here, under 112, the birth of a child during the legitimacy of a child is legitimate proof, provided he is born within 280 days after dissolution. It's a conclusive proof. So a woman goes and files a petition under section 125 CRPC that my husband is not looking after me and the child. So you pay maintenance. Husband क्या बोलेगा? He's not my son. I have not been staying with her. Whether he is the son or not the son, whether you have filed a petition under the Hindu Marriage Act section 2022 or under section 125 of the CRPC for maintenance, the magistrate has a right to lead evidence of the parties, especially of the woman, to place on record when she got married, who was your husband, when the child was born. And the husband, he may be staying in another remote area, gone to other areas, relations are strained. But did he challenge? Did he lodge any complaint when the child is born? So if you want to take up the plea that he is not your child, you cannot wait for longer, 1 or 2, 3, 4, 10 years, only when she files a petition that he is not my child. What objection did you raise immediately when the child was born? Did you inform her parents? Did you inform your parents? Did you shirk your responsibility? Did you seek a declaration from any competent court of law that he is not my son? That the wife has delivered a child of somebody else and taking my name? Objection is not taken. One such matter came up before the Supreme Court, which I would like to first take it to you. Two judgment. Dr. Jahan versus Muhammad Farooq. AIR 1987 Supreme Court. निकालेंगे? Dr. Jahan, DUKHAR. Doctor mean Persian name. Doctor mean daughter. Dr. Jahan versus Muhammad Farooq. Judgment dated 20th January 1987. A beautiful judgment rendered by Justice Natarajan. I will just give you little summary of this case. The husband and wife were the first cousins who got married in UP there, I think they are from. The relations were strained. The marriage lasted only for 17 months. And he divorced her 16th October 1974. Then she delivered a baby child on 5th of December 1973, after 2 months of the divorce. Then the husband filed the wife filed a petition under section 125 CRPC in the court of a special judicial magistrate for maintenance. Because he was not paying her meher amount, because under the Islamic law, you know that when a divorce takes place, it is mandatory for the husband to deposit the meher amount within 4 months and 10 days. And also pay, that is called iddat period. Then you also know that he has to pay maintenance to the child and also the wife till the iddat period. When the petition was filed under 125, the husband refused his liability to maintain the child on the ground that he was not the father of the child. And the child has been conceived even before the marriage. That was his contention before the court, before the learned magistrate's court. Then the learned magistrate examined witnesses. The wife was examined, Then immediate relations were examined. The names are given in the judgment. You may see that here. Then information was given about the child, how relationship was strained, and how he disowned it here. Then the magistrate took up the view that he took about 10 months to divorce the applicant when relations was strained. That is a finding recorded in the trial court. The learned judge, he said that you waited for about 10 months to divorce the appellant when relations were strained? Because you want to avoid paying maintenance as child. The learned judge gave a finding relying upon section 112. The child having been born within 280 days is your child, you are liable to maintain. Then he filed a revision application under 397 to Session Court, did not meet with success. Then the husband went to the High Court under 482 for quashing the criminal proceeding on the ground that he was not the father. Unfortunately, the High Court accepted the version of the husband and quashed and set aside the order placing that, relying that relations were strained between the parties and the marriage lasted only for 17 months, and hence it can be presumed that the child is not his. That means the evidence recorded by the judicial magistrate was set aside by the High Court under 482, which is normally not permissible. Because High Court exercising power under 482, inherent power, is not an appellate court. It is only the appellate court can reappreciate fact, which you learned under the provisions of Order 41 CPC as well as Section 272 onwards in the CRPC, when the appellate court can appreciate. Revisional court cannot appreciate fact. A writ court cannot appreciate fact. A court exercising power under 482 cannot appreciate. The Supreme Court, while commenting upon the provisions of Section 112, it said that here, it says, another serious infirmity noticed in the judgment is that the learned judge has completely lost sight of Section 1112 of the Evidence Act. When you open the judgment, you find it. Section 112 lays down, if a person was born during the continuance of a valid marriage between his mother and a man within 280 days after dissolution and mother remains unmarried. So here the woman was unmarried and of course the child was born within 280 days and she filed a petition under 125 immediately as a counterblast to divorce. Because you cannot just declare the wife divorced without paying her iddat amount, without paying her maintenance. Then the Supreme Court laid down the law in this year, that beautiful judgment, that the 112 should have been invoked by all the courts, by the High Court especially while quashing the order here. Then they placed reliance upon the judgment of a Lahore High Court in Matlub Ali versus Taj Khan, AIR 1915 case, affirming the contention thereafter. Then the Supreme Court said the proceeding under 125 are summary in nature, entitled to enable destitute women from claiming maintenance, children of illegitimate or illegitimate. Even if a child is illegitimate, so what? 125 doesn't debar. You know that now, all of you read it in the first semester. Even an illegitimate child can claim maintenance. Which fact the High Court of Allahabad High Court in this case lost sight of. So the Supreme Court set aside the judgment of the Allahabad High Court, invoking the provisions of Section 112, which was also later on approved by this judgment was approved by the Supreme Court in another case Uh, I gave you in the net yesterday. Kamati Devi versus Poshiram. This is a judgment dated 11th of May 2001 given by Justice K.T. Thomas and Justice R.P. Sethi. It's a beautiful judgment. Here, fortunately, the husband has been able to show before the court that he had no access to the wife. And the Supreme Court agreed with the trial court finding. Okay, the trial court had given a finding. So, this is also a matter. I'll tell you what proceedings were initiated between the parties. Yeah, the marriage was solemnized in 4/9/89, paragraph number 2, in the year 1975 की बात है ये. 75 में marriage हुई थी इनकी, couple की. Then marriage register में भी the child's name was entered into when he was born. The marriage was then 112 was invoked. Here the finding went against the wife before the first court. Here the appellate court held in favor of the husband. See that? But the first appellate court, after re-evaluating the entire evidence. So appellate court has a right to evaluate the evidence. Husband plaintiff succeeded in discharging the burden for rebutting the presumption by proving that he had no access to the mother of the child during the long stretch of time covering relevant period. That 102 to 280 days, you are not available. So, the child was Roshan Lal. In that matter, the appellate court held in favor of the father. But the High Court interfered with the order of the appellate court and set aside the decree holding that the child was legitimate. But the Supreme Court said that again, the High Court exercising revisional powers or powers under section 100 CPC, the second appeal, are narrow powers. There is no reappreciation by the High Court under section 100. Only substantial question of law, you learned it last time. But here the learned judge, appellate judge of the High Court, set aside the decree passed by the appellate court, which had cogently recorded a finding that the husband has dislodged the presumption, means successfully established that there was no access between him and his wife, and the child begotten was illegal. So the Supreme Court did not appreciate the High Court's interference under 100 of the CPC, and ultimately, while recording a finding, Justice Thomas' judgment, the final paragraph said that in the present case, the plaintiff has examined all the evidence which he possibly could do in the circumstances. He has proved by convincing evidence that he did not visit his village or house where the defendant was allotted room. He further proved that defendant also never visited him at the Madi, where he had been living for more than 2 years before the child was born, to Kamati Devi. In other words, he has proved that he has no access or opportunity for sexual intercourse with the defendant number 1 for more than 280 days, and defendant number 2 was begotten. That the conclusion was reached on the strength of the evidence adduced by both the parties, and the first appellate court was satisfied in full measure that the plaintiff husband had no opportunity whatsoever to have liaison with the defendant mother. The finding thus reached by the appellate court cannot be interfered in the second appeal, as no substantial question of law would have followed out of such a finding. So, in short, a finding of fact cannot be disturbed by the High Court either under section 100 CPC or by the High Court under 482 CRPC. So, in the earlier case, you learned that the Jahan's case, the finding of the High Court was set aside. 482 petition was sought to be invoked, and whereas in the present case, a second appeal which was filed by the wife challenging the validity of the decree of the appellate court was set aside by the Supreme Court. So, in short, the 112 of the Evidence Act tells you that birth during marriage is conclusive proof of legitimacy, provided two things are established: valid marriage, dissolution of marriage, and child being begotten within 280 days, and husband proving that he had no access. Okay, this is the second section dealing with conclusive proof. And the last section, before we wind up today's chapter, is 113, proof of cessation of territory. In my opinion, this section is redundant now, nugatory, because this is when the British government was ruling India, that was the time secession took place. The Rajas and Maharajas, Nawabs, you know that various in India had got 600 to 650 states where there are several kings, Rajas, Maharajas, Nawabs were ruling. They were amalgamation or accession of each territory. When such accession take place under the Government of India Act of 1935, such accession was presumed to be conclusive. अभी Government of India Act भी नहीं रहा, British भी नहीं रहे, accession भी नहीं रहा. So section 103(13) should be deleted from the record of the Evidence Act, which is not done so far. Okay, that you may quote it. Even if you read the leading commentaries, so there are no prince and ruler in India now. So there is no cessation of territory. We have a democratic setup now. We are ruled by the government, rule under the Constitution of India. So यहाँ पे section 113 is outdated section. It has to go. So we are covered now may presume, shall presume, and conclusive proof with several authorities and relying upon the Code of Civil Procedure provisions and the provisions of other laws. Anybody has any doubt before we take tomorrow, day after tomorrow, other topic? That is a section 5, 6 leke chalenge abhi. Anybody wants to ask any question now for today's lecture, which we can wind up after this topic? There are two judgments which need to be discussed. I will discuss it when again. Section 19, I think we have discussed two judgments. That is Bharpur Singh versus Shamsir Singh. Here section 90 of the Evidence Act with regard to presumption of 30 years has no application to the will. Please note that. Will के लिए separate act है under the Succession Act. Section 63 clause C as well as section 68, 69 and 70. So section 19 नहीं लगेगा. Section 90 mean a document 30-year-old from the custody of somebody else is a court may presume to be correct. But will, अगर will रहेगी, old will of your grandfather, it may be 60 years. You cannot draw presumption under section 90 because will का special provision under the Indian Succession Act. Section 63C and also under the Indian Evidence Act, पढ़े हमने how the will is proved by virtue of the provisions of section 68, 69, 70. So, in this judgment which I gave you, circulated to you, that is, क्या नाम पार्टी का? That is Shri Lakin Baruna versus Shri Padmakanta Kalika. That is Yeah, 1996 Supreme Court, page number 1253. Judgment given by, uh, it is rendered by Justice G.N. Ray. So interesting judgment. I will not go into the facts of the case here. The ratio laid down here is that here the provisions of section 90 relating to 30-year-old document, which the court may presume are not applicable to the wills. Please note that. Is not applicable to the will. That funding you may see paragraph number 90 of the judgment. आप चेक करें 90 के अंदर 90 says no judgment of the Supreme Court in Sri Lakin Baru versus Padma Kanta Kalita's case. Paragraph number 90, can you please check out from your internet, from your it says the position since after Privy Council decision being followed by the later decision of different High Court is presumption under 90 does not apply to copy of the certified copy even though 30-year-old. But if a foundation is laid for the admission of secondary evidence under 65 evidence Act by the proof of the law's restriction, and a copy is a 30-year-old proceeded from the proper custody, then only signature authenticated copy may be under section presumed. So here section 90 is not available to certified copy produced by defendant in our view. The wills are concerned, you cannot invoke section 90. Will के लिए section 63 subclause 3 of the Succession Act is there, and the provisions of section 68, 69, 70 of the Evidence Act. Section 90 is applicable only when the witnesses are dead and the document is the original document, and the from the court that the will is valid is not acceptable. That you can't tell the court draw presumption under section 90 that it's a valid will.
So any will which is not probated
So
is not valid.
cannot
No,
be invoked in cases of will. This is the crux of this judgment here. Then another judgment with regard to will dealing I have given to you is Bharpur Singh versus Shamsher Singh. Here also is the same finding. Paragraph is I will tell you. Paragraph number 14. Not any will. Muslims and Christians don't require a probate. 263 of the Indian Evidence Act. Isn't it? But a Hindu will has to be probated. But in the city of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras cities, what about villages? You don't require probate. District area, I don't require probate. Now, the finding with regard to section 90 and the will, please see paragraph number 14. के अंदर second paragraph. The provisions of section 83C of the Indian Succession Act 1925 and 68 of the Indian Evidence Act. In the event the provision thereof cannot be complied with, the other provision contained, namely Section 6970 Evidence Act, providing exception, would be attracted. International Court there is one more judgment, that is a foreign award passed under the RB code. Can be received in evidence by virtue of the presumption of genuineness of the copy of the judgment arising under Section 86 of the Evidence Act and Section 786 dealing with character of the document according to the law of foreign country may be said to have been proved and the judgment may be admitted. That is judgment of justice, a very lengthy judgment. What is the party's name? This one, it is a Badat and Company versus East India Trading Company. Just open it up, Ashish, if you don't mind. Himanshu, क्या नाम है? Gitanshu, open करो तो है. Badat and Company versus now dealing with the how the foreign award passed under the Protocol Convention 1937 Act. Now this is formally foreign award under the New York Convention. New York Convention and Geneva. The award, you have to seek a declaration in the country where the award is passed for a declaration that the award is valid. Then if you want to execute the award in India, in Bombay, you have to file again a separate suit for a declaration that the award has been United Nations Commission on International Trade Laws, pursuant to which the present Arbitration Act is passed. It repeals all the former act. Now the decree and award passed by the foreign court and even the domestic arbitration is a decree of the court now. This can be straight away executable. That your arbitration professor will teach you. I need not go too much into detail about it. Okay, these are the Subbarao in his judgment. See paragraph number 18. Anybody can read from paragraph number 18, I'll be grateful. That is a Badat and Company versus East India Trading Company. पढ़ेंगे जरा, who is having that? Paragraph number 18 पढ़िए. Justice Subbarao judgment. Justice K. Subbarao. गीतांशु तुम्हारे पास है जजमेंट है सभी?
हाँ सर, पैराग्राफ
नंबर आशीष के पास है.
To get to paragraph 18, sir.
Paragraph number 18 पढ़िए जरा please. I don't have the copy with me.
So here numbers are not mentioned, so it is.
By the time I went to take it out, my computer got conked out. Justice पैराग्राफ नंबर 18 है। मिला क्या आपको? मुझे आई थिंक मेरे पास है।
नहीं सर,
Yes, I got the book. I can read it. I'll read for you.
Okay.
So if you tell us, we can also read, sir. Just
Paragraph number 18. Justice Subbarao judgment.
so ये वाला है क्या? So is it,
18. See, I will read it. But it is argued by the learned Solicitor General that the said judgment has 18 है मेरे पास है। इन AIR में 18 है। AIR सुप्रीम कोर्ट में 64 है। AIR 1964 सुप्रीम कोर्ट रेलेवेंट पेज है इसका जजमेंट का स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम पेल दयाल एंड जस्टिस मुदुल कौर, बादात एंड कंपनी, बॉम्बे वर्सेस ईस्ट इंडिया ट्रेडिंग कंपनी, बादात BADAT, बादात एंड कंपनी। Open AIR 1964 Supreme Court page number 538 please. खोल पाएंगे आप?
yes sir, वहाँ पे तो
AIR 90. I think we require Mansi to open. Help us.
So
Is Mansi available in the today lecture?
No sir.
No sir. So I have the judgment open, sir. Where do you want me to read from? Can you hear me, sir? Hello?
This judgment AIR 1964 Supreme Court page number 538. Relevant page is but घर पे जाके पढ़िए, नो प्रॉब्लम। पैराग्राफ नंबर 18 है इसके अंदर, पेज नंबर 549। Yeah, I can hear you. Yes. Can you? The Supreme Court said here.
Your voice has gone, sir.
That this was a matter dealt under the provisions of yeah. This is called conflict of law. For now, also under section 78(6), dealing with character of the document according to the law of the foreign country may said to have been proved and the judgment may be admitted. Section 78(6), देख लीजिए finally 78(6) of the Evidence Act, if you see, section. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello. Proof of the character of the document according to the law of the foreign country is condition precedent to its admission.
Hello?
So, section 78(6), proof of the character of the document according to the law of the foreign country is condition precedent to its admission. Such admission is not a condition precedent for drawing the requisite presumption under Section 86 of the Act. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear me? I am
Yes, sir.
audible?
Now, yes, sir.
Okay, so sorry.
No problem, sir. I was talking to
Yeah.
you, but you couldn't hear me.
Yeah. Now, finally, I just want to conclude by finding out the large judgment. In this judgment, the Supreme Court, Justice Mudulkar's judgment, this
Yes,
is
sir.
dealing on the conflict of laws. It
Yes,
says that
sir.
a foreign award passed under the Arbitration Protocol Convention Act of 1937, which has been confirmed by the New York Supreme Court. Please note that
Yes, sir.
in the earlier Act of 1937, a judgment passed by the international arbitrators is not binding unless a decree is obtained from the competent court. So a declaration was sought from the New York Supreme Court that the arbitration proceedings which were held in New York between the New York citizen and Indian citizen were valid. So the decree was passed by the New York court. Then once that the declaration was granted, when a decree is sought to be enforced, they should bring it to the Bombay High Court. In the Bombay High Court is not a decree, once again file a suit in the virginal side of the Bombay High Court under the provisions of the Arbitration Protocol Convention Act of 1937. That's called Foreign Awards Act. So when the Bombay High Court Bombay High Court exercising jurisdiction under the provisions of clause 12 of the latest patent can receive in evidence the judgment of the English court, the New York court, by virtue of the presumption of genuineness, the copy of the judgment arising under Section 86 of the Evidence Act, which we discussed, also under Section 78, subclause 6, dealing with the character of the document according to the law of foreign country, and said to have been proved by the judgment may be admitted. That is what, when you see that, finally you see Section 78, clause 6, then we'll wind it up. Proof of other official document, subclause C check करें आपने, public documents of any classes in foreign country. So a foreign country mean यहाँ पे judgment given by the New York court with regard to the award passed by the international court is valid, can be received. Okay, this is the sum and substance of today's lecture. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have successfully now placed on record and understood what the provision relating to may presume, shall presume, and conclusive proof. Anybody has any question? Finally, please ask me. I'll wind up the lecture now, and tomorrow we'll take from section 5 से लेकर 55 तक जाएंगे. Step by step जाना पड़ेगा. Section 5 cannot be read again in isolation. It must be read in conjunction, giving a harmonious interpretation with other provisions of CPC, CRPC, and other laws, which I will deal with it. Is that
Okay,
clear?
sir.
आज के lecture
Yes, sir.
समझ में गया ना? If you are not
Yes, sir.
understood, you please replay and request Gitanshu to upload this lecture early. Then कल देखो आप परसों फिर मिलेंगे हम लोग.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, till then,
Yes, sir.
good night.